You are stuck in a loop. You want to change your life and you want to live the life of your dreams, but until you get off of that loop, you're never going to do it. I'm going to tell you today how to get off the loop. 3 keys to getting off the loop of your familiar past. We're going right into it. Key number 1 is all about information. The reason you're living the life you've always lived is because you're thinking the thoughts that you've always thought. Did you know the average person thinks 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you thought yesterday? You're never going to change your life until you start putting new information right here. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you have in the arsenal of humanness. When you change your mind, you change your life, because here is how it works. New information leads to new ways of thinking. New thoughts lead to new behaviors. New behaviors lead to new beliefs about ourselves. And new beliefs cause us to take new actions. And when you take new actions, guess what happens? Your life starts to transform. Over the last year, I have been on a journey to change my mindset. It just started for me with wanting to escape anger and negativity and some of the things that I had let run my life for pretty much all of my life. And I began to take some steps I want to share with you here in this video in the next few minutes to change all of that. What I did not realize is the life of my dreams started being attracted to me during this process. I started bringing in more and more opportunities, and now my life has changed so much over the last year that my mind is blown. I have so many opportunities, and now I'm starting to get nervous about what I'm going to do to capitalize on all of them, or how I'm going to not miss the big one, or just all kinds of things have come into my life, and it's because I changed my thinking. If you're thinking those 60 to 70,000 thoughts you thought yesterday, it puts you on a loop. And you're like on one of those loops that come off the highway and you don't know where you're going. You get right back on the loop and you're like, oh, I was here before. Let me get off again. Oh no, I'm stuck in it again. We keep our mind in that position so much of our lives. The key is change the information you're putting in. For me, I started doing this with positive affirmations. I started affirming new things about myself that at the time I really did not believe to be true. One of the big ones for me was to teach myself that I was worthy of the life that I'd always wanted. I did not feel worthy of it, and it took me a while to kind of figure that out. I just know when I would do positive affirmations, a lot of them include, I am worthy to have this money. I am worthy to live this dream. I am worthy to get this. And see, I grew up in the heart of the Bible Belt and a teaching that taught me nobody's worthy, nobody's good. And it kind of got in my mind and in my head. And it was very hard for me to believe that. And for a long time, I believed that I did not have what it took to live the life that I wanted to live. Those affirmations over time began to get into my soul and cause me to think in new directions and act and behave in new ways. And it absolutely changed everything for me. If you want to change everything, it starts with information. Start telling yourself the right things, even if you don't believe it yet. Your subconscious does not know the difference in reality and what you tell it. Start telling it who you are as if you're already there, who you want to be as if you're already that person. And I promise you, your subconscious will get in line, and over time, it'll begin to follow. So it starts with information. Change the programming of your mind. The second key is transformation. You start to transform as you start to reprogram the information in your mind. When you start to understand that the thoughts that you think do not control you, you get to control the thoughts you think, and you start feeding your brain new thoughts, guess what happens? Little by little, you start transforming your life. After I began to do positive affirmations, pretty soon I started reading more and more and more information about how we rewire our brains, how we literally transform our lives. New opportunities began to be attracted into my life, scary opportunities. And rather than shirk those responsibilities or those opportunities or live in fear like I'd done so many times before, I began to embrace them. I did it in very little ways. I bumped into one of the top people in the group I work for in sales. in a donut shop one morning, and I seized my opportunity to connect with that person about personal growth coaching and some of the things I was doing in my life. And do you know what? That led to more opportunities, to more connections, because I took that little step. I took bigger steps. In our sales floor, something that never happens in car sales. A while back, they asked me, Jim, would you share in our Monday morning meeting with this group of different car dealership stores we have? Would you share on Mondays about positivity and about how we can be more positive people and how it can change our life? And I said yes. And I'm learning to be like Jim Carrey and yes man and say yes to opportunity. And guess what it's doing? It's transforming my life. Why? Because I started feeding my mind new information. I started saying, yes, Jim, you can, not Jim, no, you can't. Yes, Jim, you are worthy. You are good enough to do this. I started saying those things, and my thoughts slowly began to become things. The cell phone I'm talking to you on right now that I'm filming this with, this used to just be a thought in somebody's mind, and it became a thing. It was invented and brought into reality, and now we all use them. The key to bringing the reality you want is starting right here with new information, and it leads you to transformation, because when you start thinking new thoughts, you start living with new behaviors, you develop a new belief system, you start taking new actions, and you start changing your life. So information, transformation, and the third thing is meditation. Meditation is something I avoided for almost all of my life. When I thought about meditation, I thought about a guy with his legs crossed sitting like in a Buddhist temple doing this. And that was my mindset for meditation. But when I began to look into some things like Joe Dispenza, he's got a lot of great work that's been scientifically researched. They do brain scans on people meditating. And I began to understand it's about tuning in to the inner you, the real you, and then tuning out to nothingness and beginning to let your brain relax and get out of fight or flight mode and live in creation mode. You start creating new realities for your life. Whether you know this or not, in our society today, we live backwards. In your body is a mechanism that engages in your brain first, and then in all of the hormones and the things like cortisol that shoot through your body that's designed for fight or flight. It's to get you out of situations like when a tiger steps out in front of the tree or from behind the tree in front of you in the jungle. You either freeze or you flee or you fight, and your brain does that, and it's very temporary, so you can get away and give you just a few minutes of extra rush. But we live in it in stress all the time in our society today. And that's one of the reasons you can't create a new reality. You're stuck in a mode that's supposed to be temporary. When you meditate, you get out of that mode and you start your day, or you end your day, however you choose to do it, by relaxing your mind and putting it in a creative mode so you can begin to create the reality in the future you want. You can do it. If I changed my life, I know you can change your life, and I'd love to help you do it. Subscribe below if you haven't. Tell me in the comments, what do you want to change about yourself today? Because you can do it, and I'm here to help you do it. Now let's go get after it.